welcome to another video. How is everyone doing? I believe this game will be the last game that we have at our hands before the next patch, where we will be having a new champion. Hopefully the champion stays banned until they release the nerfs to balance it out. I'm sharing today with you this game because, again, and I believe all my games in this past week started very horribly, and we managed to survive against all odds. The only issue in this game is that there was no hope since the start of the game, and the funny thing is that we lost first blood by a split second. And to make matters worse, everyone started this whole series of insult and flaming even before doing the first Drake. And if you suffer from these games as well, of course these games have bad players on both sides, I suggest that you play patiently and play in the same way that you always do. Of course, in this situation you would assume that we only have the bad play. I was thinking maybe the issue is with bot side, but it appears that also top side is not doing very well. Well, I would understand the matchup melee versus range is very hard, but shockingly, the enemy top laner is also a bad player. Sometimes weird things happen in the top side, but not as weird as this one, because this guy will flash in our face. As shocked as you are, I was thinking maybe Aurora does something that I don't know myself. In games like this, it is important that you shouldn't make bad plays at all, otherwise you should simply surrender. Of course, I am against the philosophy of surrendering unless there is hope in the game. But the issue with the new season is that early game is not that much impactful in mid elo. Let's call Plat and Emerald slightly above mid elo, but the early game is not as impactful anymore. So our goal is to take the first tower and focus on Soul Drake. You might wonder, why not go for grabs or set up for Atakhan? The thing about the previous season that Soul Drake was always broken. Even though with the new objectives, I believe Soul Drake is the most broken objective in the game. It gives you permanent stats, permanent buff, and an active buff. So yes, playing for Soul Drake will always be rewarding. The only issue is that sometimes your team will not be on point. Hence, you should make sure that you always talk with your team that maybe this game is a Soul game. Please be patient. Don't make more mistakes than what you are already doing. At this stage of the game, I forsake completely top side. We are going to play for bot side, even though I am not that confident that we will win the game. But it seems that the support player is decent, mid lane is losing the 1v1 but winning the 1v2. It seems that our Jace performs much better under stress, while our top laner is totally dominated by a range match. This was a total mistake on my part because the wave was behind me and I didn't notice until it was too late. The good part is that Lulu didn't get any kills. So what was a mistake turned out to be a faster recall. So in this game everyone is losing his lane, and the idea is that camping both side will generate more gold because the gold that you lose from assists is compensated by the total gold you get from the kill as a team. So this call will be simply camp both side, get all the drakes that you can, be as strong as possible in the mid game, and hopefully the team will manage to come together in the mid game, hopefully before Atakhan spawn, so that we can get pressure going on the map. In games like these, where you try to avoid conflicts in the early game, it will not generate as much stacks for Grasp of the Undying as you used to in normal games. But still, the rune will backfire, but the build will cover us for the mid game. And if you are wondering what is the build, it is the usual build: Riftmaker, Winter's Approach, Frozen Heart, and Spirit Visage. This build is consistently strong across the map, and once you reach 4 items, it will be almost impossible to kill you unless you are picked out from your team. I believe I am the only one fed on my team, so after getting some kills, it is not good to get all the kills on your team because once you are dead, your team is pretty much useless. Here we got the Drake, we got a double kill. I thought to myself, maybe it was a good idea to split push and get to tower. Luckily to us, we stumbled upon Xin Zhao. Of course, I wanted here to limit test my build. Sad part, we didn't stack Grasp of the Undying long enough. And it is a rule of thumb that Grasp of the Undying loses against Conqueror. But since Grasp have the potential for infinite scaling, you will lose in the early game, get even in the mid game. If you stack it correctly, you should win in the late game. But the fact that we lost to Xin Zhao doesn't mean we will lose to anyone. In situation like this where the enemy support is overwhelmingly confident, you should punish him for warding. And I knew for sure that without Xin Zhao, they can't kill me. And the only one that can do serious damage is either Aurora or Xin Zhao, because our build is consistent damage oriented. So Xin Zhao out damage us, Aurora will outplay us, but the other, once we catch them, they are simply dead. And here, for the same reasons, Smolder wanted to do something. I have no idea what he is thinking. So plays like this should always be punished. Enemy team should be punished for warding, should be punished for overextending, and most importantly, should be punished for wasting their abilities or escape opportunities. More importantly, my team are not applying any pressure on the map. We didn't take any single chow. Yet there is the opportunity that I can simply counter jungle. Also, Xin Zhao is playing for Aurora and he wants to make sure that he gets grabs, both camps and Herald. In this specific moment, their both side decided to chase. So you might wonder what is going on in this game. Both teams are clueless on what is going on the map or what to do in this situation. After getting that kill, we reached an important point in the game. This call is the decisive call in this game. My bot side died. To be specific, my AD carry died. So I decided to forsake this Drake and wait for the fourth one that will be the third for us. And look and behold, the hero of this game, the Kench, came, made sure to perfectly land his crowd control, and we secured the third Drake. This simple call shifted the game totally from almost even to winning, and this happened only after 17 minutes of gameplay. So you should always be very patient, because the game is not decided until you lose the Nexus. Now throughout the mid game I was playing a little bit passive because I didn't have any defensive stats. But now that we have managed to finish Winter Approach into Fimble Winter and got some armor, also magic resistance boot, we are very strong. Hence this is the time to make very impactful plays in the game. Hopefully to us, also our top laner made perfect engage outside of vision with his ultimate. What was happening for us in the early game is happening for the enemy team in the mid game. We are starting to flame each other. As I always say, you should always focus solely on your champion, because even if we lose this game, I should be losing the game while doing my best to do the most so that I either learn something with Volibear, make sure that my timings or decision makings are perfect. Well, this instance marks the start of the late game. Usually in a situation like this, I would avoid a fight before a major objective, because if you do, you will burn your summoner spells and ultimates. But since the fight is close to where the Drake will spawn, and after the Drake we will be trying to focus on Atakhan, I feel the urge that we need to save Groot. Maokai, if Maokai stays alive, the odds of us securing both objectives will double. Now of course, this could have backfired big, would have gave them Atakan and lost the Soul Drake, but still sometimes you need to go with your gut feeling and secure the objectives. This marks the last play of this game. Of course, we didn't reach this stage by complaining, flaming anyone. We managed to win this game because we focused only on one single goal, and that is to camp bot side, get Soul Drake, and hopefully be big once we reach the end game. And I believe the Rune that was the MVP in this game was revitalized. Didn't expect it to come this much close and this clutch in the late game. As always, thank you everyone for watching. Until the next video, take care everyone and peace.